Hey, what's up guys? Trey Smith here. So in this free training video, I'm going to walk you through how to select the right product. Got 3 different elements here. Let's check it out.
Obviously the product is important. We all know that. What you might not know is there are 3 elements that are required to have a rocket ship product. All right, now here's what those elements are. The first one is your product has to solve big problems in a unique way. That second part's important and I'll dive in a second. Number 2, the element is product timing. You have to have the right product at the right time. And you'll see some examples. If I would release products even months before or after, it probably wouldn't have worked out. Product timing is essential. Number 3 is model and improve. And what you'll learn is being first to market rarely works. You'll find out why that is and how important it is to see something that's working and improve upon that. All right, so these will make or break your business. Those 3 things are essential. I'm gonna show you why and exactly how to use these 3 essential elements. So let's get started. The first one, the first product element is solve big problems. Now this isn't as obvious as you might think, and here's what I mean. You won't crush it solving a problem that's already been solved. I mean, at least not if you're trying to solve it in the same exact way. And to really crush it, you should solve problems that are newly on the rise. We'll dive into this a little bit more in the timing section, but you don't want to solve problems that have been solved 14 different times, 14 different ways, and you come up with a 15th way, all right? Let's see 5 real-world examples of how solving big problems worked for me. All right, so the first 7-figure company I ever created was a computer TV. I came up with the software in 2007. It did over 3 million in sales in the first year. And the thing is, this is before Netflix had started really taking off and doing all their custom content and custom programming, okay? I think at this time they might have just been DVD only. There was no real easy way to watch video on your computer. Even YouTube at the time didn't have famous YouTubers and all that stuff. So this is pretty early internet, 2007. It solved a huge need, a huge problem, especially in the international market. About 60 to 70% of my customers were international, where they weren't getting access to a lot of American TV stations. This had over 2,000 channels. It was a collection of every single streaming video site I could find on the internet, every single stream that you could possibly think of. And it had a lot of cool stuff. It was very, very successful. Example number 2 was Game Academy. Now, when this came out, about 2011, the App Store had just really started taking off. And there was no one out there teaching people how to build a video game business without programming. I'd done this myself. Now I have a game business with over 70 million downloads. And that's another 7-figure company we're not even gonna be talking about on this event. But when I started building that company, and after I had around 5-10 million downloads, I started teaching other people through courses how to actually do it themselves. We had over 7,000 customers, did $8 million in revenue in 3.5 years through Game Academy. And it solved a huge problem, how to make video games without programming. If you don't know how to program, how to do it. Example number 3, Game Academy slowly turned into BuildBox. And this was the first easy to use no-code game development software. And still today, it's the most popular one. Millions of people have used the software. It's very simple to use and create a complex game. Solved a huge problem, how to make games, eventually 3D games, without programming using drag and drop software. Example number 4 was 30-day course. Right after COVID hit, everything just went absolutely nuts. I happened to finish this up around the same time, and it solved a huge need in the market out there, which is how to build a business online in 30 days by creating and selling a course. Over 700 people bought this in the first month. It was a huge success and still selling right now today. Example number 5 is this product, and talking about solving big problems with this product I'm doing right now. I'm going to be talking about the end of this event. It's all about growth and scale, which is a huge problem in the market. And I did that. I hit so many road bumps where I would almost scale out to have a big business and then something would happen. And that's what this product is talking about as well. So every product I create, I try to make sure it's solving a big problem in a unique way. So as you can see, solving big problems, essential to product success. And this next one is just as important. And that's product element number 2. This is product timing. All right, so with every win I had, timing was instrumental to my success, absolutely required. If I would have launched these products months earlier or later, they would have bombed. All right, let me give you guys some timing examples here. Coming out with Game Academy right now wouldn't work. All right, you're gonna find out a really important lesson later on in this event, which is always evolve. That's why I evolved Game Academy into BuildBox. The reason it wouldn't work now, Game Academy, reason that would not work now is because it's a much more saturated market. Also, there's a billion videos on YouTube that talk specifically about how to start and create a game without actually programming. People know about outsourcing, all right? It's just a different market right now. There's a lot of competition out there, like the company we created, BuildBox, that can just create the game for you with no code. This stuff wasn't available back then, right? So it evolved into something great, but coming out with just Game Academy right now, it would be a lot tougher than it was when I did it in 2011. Another example is TV software. It's not needed right now. There's Netflix, there's a Hulu, there's tons of different choices out there that weren't available. None of the streaming services were around back then. Now, what would have been great if I would have had the foresight or even the experience that I have now would have been to turn that into a Netflix, right? I had an email list of 2.2 million people and over 40,000 customers. That would have been a really good start to start actually doing a streaming service. But yeah, I didn't think about it at the time, and it's all good. But that wouldn't work right now, coming out with that same exact software. There's too much competition that does it better. Another example here would have been BuildBox itself. If I'd have launched 1 year before, it would have been too early. The market wasn't ready. Timing is essential. All right, the last essential element of a great product is a little bit different. It's not about timing or solving problems. It's about building the product the right way, in a way that won't cost you a ton of money and in a way that will actually make customers happy. Also, you'll see this come up a few times in this event because it's a staple of nearly everything that I do. It's a super important part of what I do. All right, so product element number 3. This is called model and improve. And the best way to explain this is with a simple statement. The first to market almost always loses. Every single product I've been successful with, I was never first to market. Now, what is first to market? It's simply the first person to do something new. That's it. Now, this seems counterintuitive, right? So let's look at real world examples, because you would think, hey, the first person to come up with this great idea is going to be the one who crushes it. Rarely ever works. So I got a question for you. What was the first online book selling website? All right. Most people, all right, maybe you know some internet history, but most people would say Amazon, right? That's actually wrong. Books.com launched 3 years before Amazon. They were one of the first people to ever sell anything online, and they were absolutely huge. They were the largest retailer online, which is where Jeff Bezos got the idea to even start there. All right, so what was the first video game to really take off in the late 70s and early 80s? All right, most people are going to say Pong, right? It's actually not correct. Atari was sued for completely ripping off the Magnavox Odyssey. We'll talk about this later. Model and Improve is not about cloning and ripping off. They actually got sued and almost went bankrupt because they had to give royalties of any games they created for a year because they ripped it off so much. And look how close this is. That's the Magnavox Odyssey. Being even a person who's made video games and been very involved, I'd never even heard of this before. All right, first to market right there. Second to market was Pong. This is just the beginning. First to market almost never works. Microsoft wasn't the first operating system. Google wasn't the first search engine. Tesla wasn't the first electric car. So then why? Why does second to market almost always win? All right, it's actually pretty simple. Second to market had a game plan to follow. All right, think about that. It's hard to win without a roadmap. When someone else has done it before, they create a roadmap for you. Now, rarely do they know this, it's unintentional, but a great example is Amazon. Books.com invented many e-commerce standards we use today, like recommended products. And having a huge library, they had over 500,000 books. This was not a small operation. They kept it in a warehouse, all right? But it about killed them to figure out the roadmap. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you, one of the most genius things that Bezos did with Amazon at the time was instead of stocking 500,000 books like Books.com was, he saw that that was the biggest problem, and he actually would have the publishers ship out the books to people. So Bezos was able to come in and start at their endpoint and see their struggles at their endpoint and start right there, new and fresh, learning from their mistakes with a roadmap based on what they did. Amazon literally started on third base with none of the baggage. That is model and improve. So instead of figuring out everything on your own, let someone else make all the mistakes, and then you come in with their roadmap and a better product and fixing and tweaking their roadmap. That's the improved part. This is such a deadly strategy, it can't be overstated. On a personal level, it's exactly what I did with BuildBox. The largest no-code game builder at the time was dying because they had spent all their resources to get to their point. I came in and created a better product off of what I learned from them, eventually took over their customer base, and it was game over. All right, sorry, had to do that one. So that's the first step and the important elements for the right product.